Hey guys, Bolton4 back here again, and today, well tonight, whatever, I'm going to be doing my quick thoughts on the new episode of Doctor Who, Time Heist. Now, there's no, just first thing to say, there's no next time trial at the beginning, because the reason is my quick thoughts video on Deep Breath got a copyright strike, so it's been blocked by the BBC, so that's understandable. So from now on, I'm not going to put any next time trailers at the beginning. So if you want to check them out, they're on the BBC's channel, and I think Doctor Who's channel. I might be wrong, but anyway, they're definitely on the BBC's channel, so check them out. They're pretty cool. Anyway, so Time Heist. Oh, and remember, spoilers ahoy. I forgot to say that. Yes, there are going to be spoilers. Anyway, Time Heist. I was actually genuinely surprised. This was actually a pretty decent episode. I mean, I would even go as far to say, so far, it's definitely the best episode from Series 8 so far. I mean, I was genuinely surprised. If you saw my quick thoughts on Listen, I thought it was just going to be meh. But it actually ended up being pretty good. I'm really surprised. It was well executed. The plot with them going into the bank to, from, it's hard to explain. It starts off, they're just having normal stuff, and then suddenly they're in this bank. And there's these two other guys there, and they're all just like, oh, what's going on? They can't, they don't figure out, and they have to go through and do all these stuff to break into the vault. It's really interesting. It's kind of like if Ocean's 11 met Doctor Who, but it's done very well, and it was very enjoyable. For the characters, again, Peter Capaldi is once again great as the Doctor. Probably one of his best performances in this season so far. It's pretty good. Jenna Coleman, I reckon she's getting better as Clara. It was never her acting, it was just her character, but I think Clara's definitely getting better as a character. Not great, but still getting better as a character. As for the two characters they work with in the bank to break in to the vault, it was Saber and I can't remember the other guy's name. I'm trying to remember, but he had like these cybernetic implants, and they all have their certain things. Saber, when she touches people, she obtains their genes, so she looks like them. She's like a shapeshifter, and the other guy, he has like the cybernetic implants, so he can wipe his memory and stuff. And he was given a fairly interesting backstory, and Saber wasn't given much of one, but she had, you kind of knew who she was. So yeah. Now, as for I guess like the villain of this episode for the most of it was Miss Delphox, played by Keely Hawes, and she was pretty good. I will admit, but she was like, while watching it, I was kind of thinking, yeah, she is kind of a little like, she does remind me a lot of Miss Foster from Partners in Crime. So yeah, but still, good performance and a very interesting character. And I think the fact that at the end, the revelation that she is in fact a clone of um, Carabalaxos, I think that's what it's called. I can't remember. Anyway, yeah, and that she's a clone. Pretty cool. And the monster of this episode, the Teller, basically it's a being that can wipe. It can read all your memories and just turn your brain to soup. And that was actually pretty cool. The design was very interesting. And yeah, one thing though, whenever they come in contact with it, there's a whole clear your mind, which is very similar to Don't Blink or Don't Breathe. It's kind of a little along those lines, but still. Yeah, so, can't really think of what to say. Just, yeah, pretty good. Yeah, I can't really think about what else to say other than it was a pretty good. Oh, of course, the whole thing. I completely forgot. The whole thing of them when it turns out at the end. This is a big spoiler, so yeah, be warned. I already warned you at the beginning anyway, but whatever. Yeah. So the whole revelation at the end that this whole setup was in fact planned from the very beginning by the Doctor and all that. And it turns out he wrote a letter to her, so he wrote a letter to Carol Blacksoss, whatever, and she. Years later, she was dying, and she rung him, and she needed him to break into the bank, and thus he did this whole thing as the teller. So it turns out he sent himself or something like that. Maybe I can't remember, to go back in time and stuff. Actually, no, he didn't send himself. No, they went back in time, but he doesn't remember because they did the memory wipe, and yeah, that was actually very well executed. It wasn't typical Stephen Moffat style. Oh, yeah, let's put all these timey-wimey stuff in it just to make it impressive. No, it was actually there to benefit the plot, and it was actually quite clever. The writing, for the most part, was written by Stephen Moffat, and I can't remember the other writer's name. I know I'm going to get it drastically wrong, probably. I believe it is Stephen Thompson. I'm going to get that wrong, I think. I don't know. If I get it wrong, I'll put an annotation up here. But yeah, who knows. Anyway, yeah, his past stories, which were Curse of the Black Spot and Journey into the Center of TARDIS, were, I'm going to say this, they were pretty bad. Pretty bad stories, but this one was actually quite well written. It was executed well, it had an interesting plot, fairly interesting characters, and it was just all around a very enjoyable episode. So, yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised. The next episode is The Caretaker, which looks quite interesting. I'm not really sure what to say about that yet. It kind of reminds me of Human Nature, the book and the episode with David Tennant. How he goes undercover as a teacher and all that is very similar. And of course, he's called John Smith, so yeah. The whole robot looks a little forced, though. But then again, I'm going to have to see the episode to know. So yeah, I can't really say anything about it yet, but yeah, so those were my thoughts on Time Heist, the newest episode of Doctor Who Series 8, and yeah, overall, quite good, very surprised, and I'm definitely looking forward to what's going to be next time, so yeah, and I'll see you